Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we're starting a bit late. I was hoping I'd have a bit more time, but lo and behold, as soon as I got ready to stream, YouTube took a crap. So 5 seconds till the formation lap. Was hoping to run you through qualifying, hoping to run you through the championship standings before we got ready for the race. And, well, we're just going to get right into the race. We're not going to waste any time here. Jurassic Attack, you're not early. I'm just late. Should have been up several minutes ago, but that's all right. We ended up getting there just in time. I'm super excited. This is the finale for the ARL Friday Multiclass Championship. We are at Fuji nonetheless. I'm sure you picked that up from the length of this straight already. All three championships are up for grabs. When appropriate, I will show off the championship standings, probably do a bit of napkin math throughout the race. We do have time. It's a 2-hour race, the Fuji 120-minute for the finale. A good lineup of drivers. Adam Taraj taking the pole in LMP2, Kurt Von Ontenried in LMP3, and Chase Jones in LMGT3. I'm talking way too fast. Slow it down. Relax. Green flag should be going any moment, and there it goes. It's a bit of a good start for Sanabria right behind Randy Magruder, but an exceptional start from Adam Taraj. Oh, it's going to be 3 wide going into turn 1 for the finale. Randy Magruder's on the outside. He seems like he's got the overlap, maybe going in just a hair deep, but holding his position nonetheless. That was weird. All right. I'm not sure what that was, but I'm going to hope that that doesn't happen again. But a great start from our pole sitter. A bit of movement in the LMP3 field, but nothing doing from the lead. Chase Jones holds it in LMGT3. The first lap of many. Boogity, boogity, boogie. Let's go racing. I should have hit that. This is an American league, so I feel like that's most appropriate. I'm used to dealing with Europeans. But it is an exceptional start nonetheless for the pole sitter, but a bit happening already into Dunlop Corner. This is turn 10. It's between Deutsch and Sanabria, and it's Deutsch in the Inter-Europol car, and Deutsch in the 77, even though his race number is 3. Finally, I'm so glad that the people who made the overlay fixes so I can actually see race numbers, but it doesn't entirely match car numbers. That's Sanabria going wide, that's Deutsch, Fernando Deutsch going wide through the third sector. It is so unbelievably tricky to do, and pretty much any car, prototype machinery especially, is a whole different beast. But the LMP2s have come across the line. LMP3's next. A little bit of movement from Devin Anthony. He thought, maybe I'll step out late, but he doesn't. He holds it back firm. Jumping back a little bit further on board with this man, Tyler Moore. He is the driver with, one to argue, the most to lose in this race. And he is the current leader in the championship. And second to him is Kurt Von Ontenried, who I have just realized has been bipped by the great and fast Joshua Nelson in the Ligier, the one remaining Ligier in this championship, I do believe. And it seems a lot's changed on the championship front since 2 weeks ago, the last time I broadcast. I would have done round 5, but I was in Sebring. I wasn't in Sebring, I was at Sebring. So a bit unable to broadcast from the trunk of my car. But I was messaging Tyler a bit. He's the guy I communicate with regarding broadcasting, since this is his championship after all. And he said, I have never been so nervous for a race in my life. I told him my professional opinion was keep it between the lines, and I think we'll be fine. But he's poised to do pretty darn well. Chase Jones is the man who's leading the championship in LMGT3. I'll bring all the numbers up for the standings soon. I'll wait for the field to spread out. We get through these handful of laps. Before I do all that, but it seems I know there's not just a fight for the top step in each class. There's plenty of fights in the midfield, though I don't know them off the top of my head right now. So I will study the points battles very closely throughout this campaign. I love a little bit of napkin math to keep me company when I'm alone in the box. Seems we've got a bit of a fight on our hands between Rainy Magruder and Javier Sanabria. This is sort of a fight that was looming turn 1, lap 1, but nothing doing for him on that first lap. But there are two layouts is a better word, of Fuji in Le Mans Ultimate. There's this one that we're on now, the WEC layout, and then there's the classic layout. I prefer the classic layout. It removes that chicane that's turn 10, 11, 12, and just turns it into it's not quite a 90-degree right. It's like an 80-degree right-hander. Very fast, very fun, and extensively easier, I think. And looks like we got a bit of Mustang on Corvette, or Corvette on Mustang action, rather, for 4th place between Todd Tillery, who did switch to the Mustang fairly recently out of the LMP3s, I believe. But we'll see what they look like coming down the main straight. And you can see the gap coming down reasonably, but not super quickly, though. This is a long straight, and the closing speed will only get greater. You can see instead of a 100th at a time, it's 2/300ths at a time. I think Tillery's going to sort of go for a half defensive look there. Still give himself a good run on through the corner, but Bonacorda got the better exits. And in turn 3, Coca-Cola corner coming up next. Not really a corner where you want to race somebody all that often. It gets very narrow on the exit, and just the nature of 100R, the corner we're in right now, can get a bit sketchy. Every time I've tried to get alongside and race somebody through there, I usually don't end up the way I was supposed to be facing, out of the other side. A little bit of wedge between Joshua Nelson and Kurt Von Ottenried, and he sort of got ahead of him, I'll be honest. Completely missed where it is. However, I do have a handy-dandy gadget that shows me overtakes, and we'll look at a replay of that in a moment. I just want to see how this battle between the pair is going to shape up. And you can see he's in the tow. However, the strength of the Ligier over the Ginetta is straight line speed. And the straight on Fuji is just so long that it can be a bit tricky, but we'll sort of see how he looks through the first and second sector here. Chase Jones going quicker in the LMGT3 fields. But we'll sort of see once it starts to get twisty, you know, how that gap begins to look relatively similar. 100R is such a long right-hander. The fact that it starts going back uphill is super interesting, and finding a good, comfortable line in that corner where you don't cook your front left tire is pretty important. And speaking of tires and tire wear and cooking, it is a double tire wear race as well as a double fuel burn race. So it is a 2-hour race, but it's going to feel, from a driver perspective, like it's a 4-hour in terms of what the cars are going through. But I mean, you see the gap came towards them just a bit, and that's what the battle button does. Cool. This is a new button. The broadcast tool that I use gets updated all the time, and I saw the battle button and I wanted to see what it did. I didn't know, maybe it would, like, some cannons would stick out, but it seems like it'll show who's fighting for what position. If it's a multi-way fight, it'll show it all. Very cool. Thought I'd, you know, give her one of those. But this does seem like a fight that's going to loom for a while. Tyler Moore doesn't really seem like he's able to hang with them too well. This is now the fight for second between Denzel Kitchens and Rob Ruggiero, both in BMWs. One slightly more colorful than the other, I will say. Ooh, a late dive, almost, for Rob Ruggiero. He thought about it. But we're now going to look back at the overtake that Joshua Nelson put on Kurt Von Ottenried earlier in this race. The change for the lead. I think it was 2 separate overtakes. So you see Joshua Nelson goes a bit deep there. Or Kurt Von Ottenried, rather, goes a bit deep there. So it's sort of a take, give, take. That's how that was sorted on lap 1. I believe it was lap 1. Might have been lap 2. I'm realizing, doesn't tell me. Randy Magruder's going super quick in his LMP2 car. And I know that he's been driving an LMP2 a lot, not just in LMU, but in iRacing, because I had the distinct pleasure of meeting him and his son Cameron at Sebring, along with spending a bunch of time with Mr. Ted Piper, otherwise known as Ted is Graphic. He and I hung out for pretty much the entire weekend. It was very good fun, and there was a sim that was there. It was iRacing, it was LMP2s, it was Sebring, and Ruggiero thinking he might have had an opening there on Kitchens. And the final corner is do or die in terms of your exit, and do or die in terms of, you know, who's going to get who on the exit. He's super close already. Kitchens is, I think, going to really be thinking about, I need to go defensive here. Or maybe he sticks to his line and just tries to get his braking point right. Nope, he's going to go defensive before the braking zone for Daichi. And they're about even on the brakes. It's something that's a little bit extra tricky that, you know, obviously the LMP2s and somewhat the LMP3s, there aren't too many different individual cars with individual strengths and weaknesses that you sort of figure out. But when you're in an LMGT3 car and you're fighting the same car, you have to treat it a bit differently. You're not exploiting differences in the chassis, differences in the, you know, where it's good, where it's bad. You know, the BMW tends to be quite good in a straight line, or at least used to be. And, you know, usually think, I'm in a BMW, the car ahead of me is a, you know, Corvette, Mustang, McLaren, whatever. I can use my straight line speed and maybe have a move into turn 1. But when your rival is in the same car, it's going to be a bit of a different story. Sector 3, though, getting super, super close in Sector 3. Not many places to make a move, but it is a super important sector because it sets you up. How close can you get at turn 16? How, you know, great is your exit? And Ruggiero's exit was a bit greater, but as we're going to come into the braking zone in about 400 years, because the straight is unbelievably long, you know, I don't think he's gonna. It's really gonna have to be a late lunge, if anything, and we'll see if he steps out. He does not elect to. He had blip or throttle, I think I heard, on the sort of on the apex there. A bit interesting. And the other thing that's interesting to note is look at Chase Jones. His gap to these two is upwards of 3 seconds now because they've been fighting so hard that they've lost a bunch of time. And while they've been fighting so hard, I've completely missed that Kurt Von Ottenried has actually gotten past Joshua Nelson. And fortunately, I have a replay of it, so we can see where that happened. It looks like it's going to be into turn 1. Very stellar on the brakes. I think Joshua Nelson might have been trying to go for a switchback, but Kurt sort of parks on the apex just a bit and is able to carry on, but certainly going to be a slow burn between the pair. Though that last lap, a 37.3 for Ottenried and a 38.5 for Joshua Nelson. So maybe he had some early race pace, but he's not finding it so easy to find it later on. But I guess we're early enough. I'm not seeing too much battling outside of. I want to. I want to see what's going to happen between these pair. I won't jump over the championship standings just yet. I do want to see how the Beamer v. Beamer fight ends up sorting itself. It's closer than he's really ever been. I think he's gonna. Maybe he wasn't quite as close. He's gonna step out. Bit of a late move there, but he had the overlap to sort of do that. And Ruggiero trying to turn in early, maybe trying to get a bit of a switchback, but unfortunately there was a rear quarter of a BMW waiting for him. But I will admit that was a little bit late from Denzel Kitchens on his defensive move, but no harm, no foul in that incident. Nothing super dangerous, nothing to bring on the ire of a steward would they be watching, and I'm not one. I'm just a guy who likes talking about race cars and enjoys racing them a fair bit. Ruggiero, though, looking like he might have an opportunity into 10, but I think he might have lifted just a little bit. And wanted to square himself up for the braking. He knows that maybe a send into 10 is not worth the risk. It's a risky move for sure. And more often than not, because the circuit comes back, goes right, then back left, the car on the outside often ends up with the advantage. So it's another third sector for Rob, another opportunity for him to get close. He is close, and that is our first bit of LMP2 traffic. That's Adam Taraj getting ready to overtake these pairs of BMWs. Zooms on through. You can see the multi-class is beginning in the back of shot, and almost gave a little bit of an opportunity. It stopped Kitchens from being able to come over. So using that multi-class to absolute effect, Rob Ruggiero gets through. He maybe goes a bit deep, but he's going to have the correct side of the circuit. The Coca-Cola corner, turn 3. I mean, you see Denzel Kitchens does drop back a little bit. Their VE does tell a bit of a story, though, of who might be doing a little bit of lift and coast and who is pushing to the limit. 4% separates the pair. And there is Randy Magruder. He was holding with Taraj for a little while. I think he was staying with him, and I'm wondering if there's maybe a minor mistake from him that caused that time loss, though I do know from the limited watching that I've had of this series, Adam Taraj is a missile in effect. Unbelievably quick, unbelievably performant, and he leads his class. And while we're talking about him, I'll go ahead and bring up our championship standings. You can probably imagine this is not the last time I'm going to look at him. I might not display them on screen, but I'll be doing some math. Adam Taraj with a, shall we say, commanding lead in the LMP2 field. 92 points over Denison De Leon. Hernandez in second with 66. 63 points for Devin Anthony. Randy Magruder's in fourth for 53, though he's poised to get a good haul of points today. That might bump him a spot or two. Tony Sparks is in fifth. Fernando Deutsch in sixth. Dove Myers in seventh. And Javier Sanabria in eighth. For LMP3, Tyler Moore leads the field with Kurt Von Ottenried in second. 14 points separates them. So really, Kurt needs to win this race, and Tyler needs to finish third. And I gotta say, if the race were to end right now, that is exactly what would be happening. And it's super close as well with Joshua Nelson. It's basically whoever wins between the pair, and if Tyler Moore still finishes third, it might go their way. Ricky Bobby's in fourth, not far behind, though. I'm gonna say, though, he's not on track. He absolutely is on circuit with 56. Daniel Kent is in fifth. Rem Wink, sixth. Jack Wright, seventh. Leon Vallejo in eighth. Austin Hodel and Danny Campbell round out 9 and 10th with 8 and 2 points, respectively. for the LMP2. That's what I should have been doing, was switching to the leaders as I'm talking about them. I feel like that'd be the nice thing to do. Chase Jones, another good solid lead over the rest of his class at 92 points. Tetsuo Hideyoshi in his AMG is in second. Denzel Kitchens is in third. I was about to say I've read his name twice, but I haven't. It's just because I've been saying his name a bunch, because he's been fighting. Alex Bonacorda with 38 points is in fourth. Kevin Serralizano in fifth. Richard Mike sixth. Michael Moleda, who I was mistakenly calling him Chase Jones at Le Mans, and that will haunt me for the rest of my days, is in seventh. Edward Pena is in eighth. Rob Ruggiero is in ninth. Jason Marte is in 10th. And Luca Raza, Carlos Lopez, Alberto Montes, Daniel Myers, and Todd Tillery, who recently switched to the class. That is why he has no points. All of his points were removed. Rounds out our bottom five. All that is to say, there is pretty much all to play for there in the field. So we'll see. We got a bit of fan favoritism for Joshua Nelson, and it's hard to say between these two, because Monza was very much a day for Nelson in terms of pace, though he started to make mistakes. At Le Mans, it was not Joshua Nelson's day at all. It did not go well, shall we say. So he does seem to be a guy that has buckets of pace, but maybe it's something where mistakes aren't ever far behind. But he's holding on to the back of Kurt Von Ottenried in the early stages, and this is going to be a bit of a slow burn of a race, and I think strategy and fuel saving is going to pay dividends as things come through. Whoever's able to, save more VE, put a couple of laps on a couple other drivers. I mean, one lap, granted, I don't know what it would be at 2x fuel, but an extra lap of fuel over another car could be upwards of 10 seconds. In maybe not quite that much. Let's say upwards of 6 seconds in pit lane. So, any drivers that are listening, if you decided I'm not going to fuel save today, too much effort, definitely worth the effort. Definitely worth it. Find it. It's part of what practice is good for. You find a good balance between fuel saving and out-and-out pace, and it could pay off later on. We are already 22 odd minutes into this finale. Multi-class already beginning. You can see the it's a bit trickier between an LMP3 and a GT3. They a lot closer in pace than an LMP2 and an LMP3. But they just have the extra downforce they can use to sort of sneak around the outsides of corners. But I think on that affair, Kurt Von Ottenried got a bit more lucky with the traffic. A couple of tenths being given up the way of Nelson. And give and take. Giveth and taketh away. That is what multi-class does. A little bit of a wiggle for Nelson, but he holds on to it firm. Tyler Moore, though, in LMP3, the current leader, I would say doesn't have the pace, but I'm gonna do a quick bit of investigating come the beginning of this next lap, because I'm really curious what his if he's doing any amount of LICO, any amount of lifting and coasting. And this is a lovely little graphic that is new to this onboard. Probably looks familiar to those who watch WEC. Basically a dead copy of what they use in that. It's just, these guys made their own thing. I'm curious. No LICO into T1, which is a big spot to do it. The energy bar that is on the right, ignore that, because there is no virtual energy in LMP3s, but does not look like any LICO for Tyler Moore. So, difference in strategy there, or I guess a lack of strategy is go, not save. Curious though how certain drivers are looking in the LMP2s. As I've done more and more endurance racing, more and more racing in general in Le Mans Ultimate, I do in fact race. For those of you who are wondering, I don't just commentate. I like to think I'm better at commentary and broadcasting than I am at driving, which is to say, mediocre at doing this, pretty bad at driving. I've sort of understood the wonders of a good fuel save, and even over a 80-minute race, what it can earn you. If you have the pace to do both. And it's something that's not worth overlooking at any point. And if I pull up the energy, ignore the LMP2s and the LMP3s. They don't have virtual energy. We don't know how much fuel they have. We will just have to guess. You can see the LMGT3s are starting to come down, but our race leader, Chase Jones, has the most amount of virtual energy of the entire field and is leading. He's been running in, I mean, granted, Chase Jones is very quick. I've actually seen him in other series and other leagues, and he can drive the absolute hell out of the Porsche 911 LMGT3 car. It's super impressive. But he's managing to save that extra bit of fuel over the rest of the field while being quicker than that. So maybe a bit of insult to energy and insult to injury. And he's all right. It's all right. If you're referring to my practice at Sebring, first of all, is this Mr. Cameron Magruder I'm speaking to? Or you're thinking of somebody. Oh no, you said Sebring today. Never mind. I didn't practice at Sebring today. I did a race at Imola, and I practiced for Qatar. So maybe you're confusing me with somebody slightly different. I promise you, I'm thoroughly mediocre in a race car. But I thought you briefly were talking about the brief stint I did when I was at Sebring, racing on Sebring. The first pit stops are actually beginning for Rob Ruggiero. He was the man who overtook Denzel Kitchens he had to work for it, for sure, but he overtook him in turn one a handful of laps ago. I mentioned how he was using a lot of energy, and you can see what's happening already. And he's first in, and he's going to be first out. So it's all worth considering. Oh, yeah, I was briefly in the iRacing channel earlier today, asking some questions, but no, I was not driving. I also don't do iRacing as much because I'm broke. So I might start broadcasting on iRacing soon enough. It's a good question. What did happen to Joshua Nelson? 10 seconds off the lead, just about. I do see a yellow flag for him. So let me open up a replay. This is Joshua Nelson. Is it a tango with a GT3 in Sector 3? Well, a little bit. Seems fine on the exits, and see what happens. There's a yellow flag somewhere. I promise. It said yellow flag. Oh, I've made a terrible error. So, I have the ability to tell it how long I want before the actual flag is shown, and I told it 100 seconds. So it was going to give us a full lap before we got the yellow flag. Here is the correct replay Still sector 3. Ah, he just loses it. Just slightly. It's just sort of that sort of baby spin that can happen. That's T15. And it's an off-camber corner. You're coming over a big curb, and it's just that pushing a little bit too hard. Losing the rear. But, a bit unfortunate. The other thing that's unfortunate is he's now getting a face full of LMP2. That never feels good. But, I think most of the GT3 field are in the pit lane now. I think it's just our fuel savers that are remaining. Chase Jones, Denzel Kitchens, and Todd Tillery. So I am curious to see what... I feel like my most apt comparison is between Rob Ruggiero and Denzel Kitchens. We'll see where Rob is versus where Denzel is once he comes out of pit lane, which he should be coming in, well, right now, actually. Denzel Kitchens is in pit lane, gonna take his pit stop. So let's see where Ruggiero is. Already gonna have used a good 13% of fuel by the time he overtakes, or if he overtakes Denzel. We'll see. He's coming out of turn 13 now. The long and schemy run. I was hoping to get this stream going early enough so I could do a bit of onboard in qualifying, because I absolutely love this circuit. But YouTube had other plans. So here's Rob Ruggiero out of 16 on the long run by. Denzel Kitchens is currently rolling down pit lane. We'll see who's going to get the better. Here's Ruggiero. You can see at top speed in that BMW. And he does actually come out ahead of Kitchens. You can see he's just hitting pit exit. So that fuel save, he comes out with an extra 13% VE for his first stint, but he is a good 4-5 seconds behind Rob. So it's going the way of pace in the first stint, but we're a quarter of the way through this race. Ooh, it tells me when there's a penalty. That's fun. Sorry, it's been a while since I've done a broadcast, and I didn't know that this was a thing. A stop-and-go penalty for Todd Tillery for what I can only guess is speeding in the pit lane. So his fuel-saving strategy, while it didn't go well, just his strategy in general sort of thrown a bit in the buckets for him. A stop-and-go 30 is super, super brutal this early on in the race, or really at any stage. I don't think it's stop-and-go 30. I think it's... Did it say stop-and-go 30? I don't remember. I know it was just in front of me. It's been a long day. Is it going to rain is the question. I do not believe so. However, there is a new button that will tell us the forecast, and we are forecasted for a bit of overcast. Temps will drop, but no rain on the radar. That's also a brand new button. I know about that. And thank you for giving me a chance to use it. You are, in fact, the GOAT, I will say. There's Chase Jones, the race leader, coming out, and pretty surprisingly, he came out in third after all's said and done. So he had the pace. I'm wondering if he maybe took tires, did Chase Jones. That could explain how he lost. I think a tire change is about 12 seconds. Would be surprised if he's taking tires on his first stint. I wonder where all that time is gone. But the interesting thing, one of the many interesting things that sort of happens when there's a double fuel, and I started to notice at, a drive-through penalty. This time for Fernando Deutsch in the LMP2 field for his part in speeding in the pit lane. And another rough thing to get early on, the pit entry at Fuji, I was about to say Suzuka. That's the other Japanese circuit, where, in fact, Formula One are racing. Possibly right now. They might have started a session. I don't know. But the pit entry, if you haven't practiced it, is an absolute beast. And you feel like you can go 1,000,000 miles an hour into it, and then you learn that it's very quickly that you can't. Interestingly, though, I'm not sure how all this is happening, but Adam Taraj is now in third. Excuse me. Adam Taraj is in second behind Javier Sanabria. One of the things I was going to say that was interesting is F3 is live indeed. Hey, I know things. Don't watch that. Stay here and watch this. Listen to me. You don't need a bunch of professional commentators with years and years of history and pages of data. It's me, freeballing it on LMU. I'll also argue this is more interesting than a free practice, especially in the current regulations of Formula One cars. Might be a hot take, but I think the current regs are a bit poor, shall we say, or maybe not terribly exciting. But we'll see later on in the season. I'll keep my eyes on it, as I always do. But the interesting thing that I've mentioned now twice, but yet to actually fully explain, is if I do this, you'll see on the tower, this is the actual overall mixed field on who is where. And because of the significantly greater fuel mileage of the LMP3 cars, and also mixed with Kurt Von Ottenried's immense pace in his LMP3 car, he's second overall in this race. Because he doesn't need to pit as often. And it might be that he finishes second overall, possibly a bit higher in the race, just because of how the double fuel is affecting the way this is gonna go out. I appreciate you guys' vote of confidence saying that I'm better than Sky Sports. I don't think I am. I do agree the overlays are fantastic. It's a small team of sim racers that didn't like the LMU overlay, which was based on the on what you see in WEC. It also didn't really work very well, so they made their own. Granted, they have updated the official overlay tools on LMU. Have not tried them. I probably will. They look very nice because they are just copy and pasted from the WEC, which very nice. But I like what I got in front of me. I really like the replay tool, such that I can see that this is between Kurt Von Ottenried and Rob Ruggiero for a possible contact. Doesn't mean it happened, but it means it might have. So we'll see. No, they just got close. There was a lot of closing speed between them. Sometimes the system thinks that that's a bit of contact. It's not a perfect system. And, perfect. Chase Jones actually just got past Denzel Kitchens just a moment ago. We'll look at that really quick. Ooh, wow, around the outside at turn 15. Sort of had that set up for a while, but he sort of lets it ride on through to 16. Keeps that narrow line, but I imagine with the superior rear grip of that Porsche, he ends up getting by. But it seems that they're actually fighting hard over this thing. Denzel Kitchens just got ahead of Chase Jones on the straight. But if anybody knows GT3 cars and they know the Porsche, they know the brakes are exceptional. So he got outbroken down at turn 1. And that's Joshua Nelson in the Ligier overtaking. He's admittedly dropping a bit of pace to Kurt Von Ottenried. currently going the way of him. And now I'm going to begin my napkin math on if this race were to end right now, what is the LMP3 going to be like? Or, excuse me, what is the LMP3 Championship Top 3 going to look like? So, I'm going to talk through my math here. Usually I do this in silence, but I don't have a co-commentator, so out loud it is. There is a... So it's 25 points for victory, 18 for second, 15 for third. So if Tyler Moore was going to get 15 points, he would be from 78 up to 93 points. And Kurt Von Ottenried with 25 would be up to 89. So my earlier prediction about which way this race was going to go and what the result needed to be to go the way of Kurt Von Ottenried was actually entirely wrong. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 2025 Formula One finale, where the guy, all he needs to do to win is finish in third. I know these might not look like Formula One cars, but I promise you, it may say Tyler Moore at the bottom of the screen, but it's actually Lando Norris who's in this car. All he's got to do is finish third, and he will take victory. So I have a feeling he knows that and is going to drive to that point. There's no reason to overdrive. There's no reason to try and push too hard. Just make a mistake, fall further back downfield. It was a bit wrong, but it's still Sanabria leading Taraj, and I quite wish that I had the ability to see how long they were stationary during a pit stop, because that would be phenomenal. But it's not something I have the ability to do, so I just have to guess. So my only guess would be one took tires, one didn't. They certainly weren't ahead during the race. But we shall see. We're going to go back to energy talk, fuel talk. So if the standings were to be where they are, well, Joshua Nelson currently, hold on just a moment. These are the championship standings for the LMP3 field. Joshua Nelson's in third, and I think if the results were to stand, if this race were to end right now, he would still finish in third in the championship. If my math is correct, pretty sure it is. If someone wants to check my math, that'd be fabulous. But back to virtual energy talk. I think, was that the sound of briefly the sound of a Mustang? It was. I was going to say, I briefly was hearing a Mustang. This camera's awesome. Briefly hearing a Mustang at turn 10, and I was like, well, we're not on board with one of those. Todd Tillery having a spot of bother coming through the chicane. It is good to see a Mustang on the circuit. Never such thing as too many V8s on a racing circuit, especially when a third of this field is V6s. Those all being the LMP3 cars. And carrying on with that, speak a bit about what's new in the news from Studio 397, the people who make LMU, and what they've announced recently, which is the version 1.3, I believe 0.1? No, it's just version 1.3 update that includes the long-awaited circuit to Barcelona, Catalunya, as well as the final LMP3 car, which is the Decane. I don't know the full name of it. It's probably a bunch of letters and numbers. Doesn't matter. It's the Decane. It's French. It's got the twin-turbo V6 from Toyota. and it will round out the LMP3 roster. I'm excited. That drops on March 31st, so 4 days from now. So if you are an enjoyer of Spanish circuits or LMP3s, I think you're going to be well sorted. There's also the new layouts for Silverstone. You get the international, the national, as well as the Grand Prix layout with the Grand Prix pit lane. So instead of the pit lane that comes out onto the hangar straight, it's the pit lane that exits just before. It's just before Farm, I think is the corner name. It's turn 3, but it's the pit lane alongside Sir Lewis Hamilton straight, as well as a handful of new layouts for Paul Ricard as well, including the one where there is no chicane and it's just the straights, which everyone knows from ACC, which is another good one. And yes, you beat me to it. I just watched the video at this point probably about an hour ago because I kept forgetting to watch it, where there was a top-down shot of one of the chicanes at Le Mans, and it had in big letters Daytona, followed up by the I don't know if it's the studio head. I don't know who the guy is that's talking. It's the guy that tells us things. He said Easter eggs are fun too. So, little on the nose, I think, but that does sort of, everybody's assuming that means that Daytona is going to be coming to Le Mans Ultimate, which I am so excited about. Not only because Daytona in itself is one of the greatest endurance circuits. I mean, the Rolex 24 is, I'd say, second only to Le Mans in terms of maybe Le Mans and the N24 in terms of just the most famous endurance races. But it opens the door. This is when I'm going to start doing a little bit of you know, this is when I put on the tinfoil hat. Not really the tinfoil hat. This is when I start saying my prayers. But what I hope is it opens the door to the IMSA license and Studio 397 having the IMSA license, because it is not an exclusive license. A lot of people think, oh, iRacing has it, so no one else can have it. Not true. AMS2 has it. They got it within the last 2 years, I think. So IMSA is very open to sharing their license with whoever wants it. So here's my thought. Daytona comes out. They start slowly adding more IMSA license-based stuff. We get the IMSA hypercars. You know, the ones that are missing. Well, I was going to say the Porsche, but the Porsche's already in here. It's really only the Acura that we're missing, but that would be phenomenal. But more importantly, we get the IMSA calendar circuits. And all of them are great. I have my personal favorites. I think I'd most be looking forward to Road Atlanta and Road America. And the tinfoil hat really comes on, and I get on my knees and start praying. I want GT4 cars and TCR cars from the Michelin Pilot Sport Challenge. Well, I guess the GT4 cars are called GS cars, but that's what I want. One of my favorite series that I watch is the Michelin Pilot Sport, which, if you've never seen a race, they happen usually the day before the full WeatherTech IMSA race. And they are awesome because GT4 cars and TCR cars, which are touring cars, which are front-wheel drive hatchbacks, are awesome. Super great multi-class stuff. Super great endurance stuff. So, that's my hope. That's my hope. That's my prayer. And hopefully Daytona comes out sooner rather than later. I know they said they wouldn't be mentioning stuff till Le Mans, which is the end of June, I believe. So it'll be a couple of months till we get official news on that. But it's super, super exciting. But yes. I hope all that happens. LMU needs more circuits. I think no more circuits not a bad thing. I think Barcelona, Catalonia, even though I don't love the circuit, I'm going to be excited to drive it. It's something that's new. Ooh, I think I just saw a brief yellow for Joshua Nelson, the fan favorite. Just seems he's on the struggle bus ever so slightly at Fuji. Not an easy circuit. In fact, it's a super difficult one. I would argue. But head back to, and I'll throw on the 1v1 as well. I'm curious. We know Chase Jones isn't pushing. He's absolutely on a fuel save strategy, so he knows he doesn't need to overtake Rob Ruggiero at this moment because he's got the strategy on him as well. But Squick, I agree. I think if LMU is going to be around for a long time, grab the IMSA license, go. A lot of my European friends want ALMS, which is Sepang, Dubai Autodrome, and maybe one other circuit. And I have told them multiple times, I do not care. Give me Road Atlanta now. That's one of my favorites. And a true bruiser. And with LMU's netcode, LMU's physics, I think that circuit is just going to be so much fun to drive. If it happens. I hope it does. And it'd be a good way to keep LMU interest increasing. 100% agree on that trick flare. I think that there would be really LMU would. I don't think it will maybe nuke iRacing. iRacing will still exist. There are some things that you can really only do in iRacing that you can't do anywhere else. There's so many different circuits. A lot of open wheel, a lot of oval. They'll still have a lot of people that do that. But in terms of sports car racing and endurance racing, I know you can't see when my hands are in the air. I'm just like, I don't think there's much that are going to happen. But we'll see. We'll see. LMU's in a really good place right now. Lots of good news, lots of good communication, lots of good tire model and physics updates. It's just so very good. Yes, Petit Le Mans and LMU. Yes, that is where my head is at. That is possibly my favorite race of the IMSA season. Well, I'm thinking, is Chase Jones going to go for it here? He takes a different line, I've noticed, than everybody else. A lot of people V off turn 16, but he sort of takes a wide entry and cuts back in early. Feels super confident in that, but I don't think he's got the run this time around. But I think it's sort of an inevitability at this point. Between this pair, he's got the strategy, he's got the pace, but he's given us a bit of a show all together. And just for the sake of it, we'll go a little on board with him while I keep yapping. Petit Le Mans might be my favorite race of the season. I'm considering making the 7.5 hour drive up to Georgia for Petit Le Mans this year. I've done the Rolex 24. I've done the the Sebring 12 hour, and I want more. I want more racing. I want more, and that's the next closest race to me is Road Atlanta. See now, you can hear that amount of lifting coast, and we're on board now. Just he's lifting a good 75 meters before his braking zone. Just how much more save is going on. You can see in the bottom of the screen as well. Basically doubled Ruggiero's energy in an hour. And a meetup at Daytona? Absolutely. So after hanging out with both Ted and Randy at Sebring, we were talking about it. And he was like, man, I think next year at Daytona and probably more at Sebring, it's easier to get camping at Sebring because we have a camp ARL. I'm down to throw in for infields. At Sebring, I didn't do this at Daytona, mainly because I had somebody with me, and also I'm an hour from Daytona, so it's pretty easy to drive over there. I've been missed completely that the fight is over between Jones and Kitchens, and the slightly concerning thing is that Denzel Kitchens didn't end up hitting. Did he just lose it and I didn't notice? That had these things happen. Let's see. Let's rewatch that overtake between the pair. Or did he enter pit lane? Oh, he did enter pit lane. Okay. That makes a bit more sense. He pitted out a lot quicker than I was expecting. That's sort of... Wait, but he... I'm confused. But he didn't take energy. Wait a minute. I think Denzel Kitchens might have made a bit of an oopsie there. I think he intended to pit for a full tank of fuel. And... I don't think he actually did. There's no reason for him to enter pit lane and not go for full. There's Reb Wink. He's around among a chaotic bit of multi-class. But I don't think there'd be any reason for him to do that. I think it may have just been an honest mistake from him. He might just not have been ready to pit and didn't have everything set up. There's Todd Tillery, there's Kurt Von Ottenried, and I think that is Adam Taraj just ahead. It is Adam Taraj just ahead. So the pair of, well, a former class leader and current class leader meeting up yet again on the circuit. It's true, Miami is only a month away. I went to Miami a few years ago. I don't remember when. But no, I'm fully read in on IRL racing events. Watching on your couch is cool and all. Listening to the broadcast, especially if it's someone as talented as me, sarcasm, is fluent of cool and all. But hearing, smelling, you know, really truly seeing is something different altogether. So if you have a chance, even if it's a small event, even if it's like honestly, if it's a local, you know, drag racing event, it's a local drifting event, not a takeover. Don't condone takeovers at all. Go to it. Go watch an event. Enjoy it. Good for you. If you like racing, you'll like it in real life even more. Randy Magruder is now the man to lead over Adam Taraj, but I didn't see him overtake Adam Taraj. Or no, he did overtake Adam Taraj. And here's Adam coming back at him. This is a full transparency here. The double fuel, double tire wear. As someone who's gotten very comfortable with a normal race distance and normal fuel and everything, very easy to follow. So, whenever double fuel is involved and there's twice as many pit stops, I just get confused. But there's Adam Taraj taking back the class lead. It took him a little while, but he has done it. Now that cars have pitted out of his way. Honestly, I don't know of any low. The only big Miami race I know is the Formula One race at Miami. Normally, I'd recommend it. It is ludicrously expensive. I mean, maybe there's like I think a general admission ticket on Sunday is like probably like $600. Not worth it. But I would say if you went down to the Homestead circuit, the Miami Homestead circuit, if you like ovals, I know they go there. I know they do NASCAR there. I know there is a sports car circuit, and I imagine there's probably some racing that goes on there. So I don't know, maybe check out the Miami Homestead racetrack website. They might have some information on there. I don't know how far Sebring is from Miami. But I do know that GT World Challenge America will be back in Sebring in the beginning of May. And I think I might go back down to Sebring for that. I'd say you're probably 2.5 hours from Sebring. I think maybe a bit further, maybe a bit closer, honestly. So I'd consider the drive for 2.5 hours is a long drive. Don't get me wrong, but maybe consider something like that. Other circuits around there. I am a Florida boy. I don't really know Florida circuits other than Sebring and Daytona and Homestead. I mean, I know there's the street circuit that they run in Tampa for IndyCar, but that's once a year and a street circuit. So, not a whole lot going on there. But what I'd honestly, I don't know, it depends on what you're into. But I'm sure there's some local, even if it's like a local track day or something, you can go and watch those. Just see cars racing. It's a whole different beast. But I'm sure they do local track days and stuff at Homestead and the like. We may be halfway in, but Adam Taraj is still going a bit quicker. He wasn't leading the LMP2 class for long, but he did take him. We got a bit of a race in pit lane between Tetsuo Hideyoshi and Alexander Bonacorda, the Corvette in the AMG. I saw it pop up briefly. I saw an overtake, and the fact they're in pit lane, knew I had to click on that. So we'll see how they do on their outlap. I would imagine they're going to be on fresh tires. I would be led to believe that everybody would be changing tires at the half distance. Usually in a 2-hour race, you wouldn't really need to change tires, but with double wear, it might be worth doing. But we'll see how their outlaps are. Tetsuo in his Patronus AMG Formula 1 inspired livery, and Bonacorda in, well, let's see. Let's take a close look here. I think it's just a custom livery done by him for whatever racing team he's behind. Is it Hexagon? Hexagon Racing? Maybe? Hexagon Racing? Sorry, I'm talking like I'm from Europe. I talk to a lot of Europeans. Hexagon Racing, I believe, for him. And I'm also realizing there's a French flag on that car. Is this a French driver? Is he local to France, or am I reading too much into this and he just saw this livery and thought it was cool? World may never know. But it does seem like the outlap is going the way of Tetsuo. And he's in a decent position in the LMGT3 standing. Let's do some more napkin math. And let's see. I'll show it to the whole club this time. He is in second, is Tetsuo Hideyoshi. So I don't think he's going to be making a run for the championship against Chase Jones. I think, knock on wood, he's got that just about sewn up. But is there a mathematical ability? Let's say Denzel Kitchens finishes in second, where he is currently sitting, and Tetsuo finishes fourth. I don't think there's going to be a position change between them. It's a 40-point delta, or 30-point delta, excuse me. But let's pretend here it is a 28-point delta, 27-point delta. And it is a 11-point delta between fourth and second. So, or no, sorry, I was looking at the wrong thing. It is a 6-point delta between 4th and 2nd. So, no threat there for Tetsuo's position in second. That is a Inter-Europol LMP2 car facing the wrong way in, is that turn 10? No, excuse me, turn 15? No, wait. Where is he? I'm so confused. No, that was turn 1, I believe. No, that wasn't turn 1. I'm sorry, I'm an idiot. That was turn 6. I think he was facing the wrong way in. There's a lot of corners, man. Sometimes they're hard to know which one's which from an overhead view. And just for the heck of it, let's see where Mr. Taraj is. That is absolutely perfect. He's just about to finish his lap. Now, I am going to go on board, and we're going to commentate a little bit of a lap here with Mr. Taraj. I know we're an hour into a race, and this is usually something I do in qualifying, but I'm doing it now, and nobody can stop me. Fuji is one of my favorites in LMU. I think if I were to have a top 3, that is a humongous lift and coast. Holy, for Adam Taraj, that was a good 200 meters before the corner for turn 1. And another huge lift for turn 3. All he needs is a little dab of the brakes to hit that one. But here's a 100R, because it is a 100-degree right-hander. It's going to be my guess. I don't know. That's my guess. But turn 6 hairpin just done. Now turn 7, and this turn 9 is 300R. So I don't know. It doesn't really seem like a 300-degree corner, so I have no idea. Turn 10 is Dunlop. Turn 11 and turn 12 make up the chicane that I don't really like. But my top 3 in Le Mans Ultimate, I guess you could say in WEC, more specifically, is Imola, Qatar, Fuji. Might be a bit wild there. That might ruffle some feathers. I'm a weird guy. What can I say? I see why he was Lycoing that much. Adam Taraj was getting ready to come down pit lane, so he was ensuring that he would make it on the fuel that he had. So he's coming down into his pit stop for his second of the night. I think Javier's already taken his pit stop a few laps ago. So it's another... Excuse me, sorry, I was drinking some water. Another edition of pace over fuel save. So Sanabria is going to come through. Taraj is still stationary. Barry's still stationary. I'm wondering if he maybe is saving a bit too much fuel. And this might go the way of Javier towards the end of this race, but that is to be seen. I think Randy Magruder's far too far away to get this position back. But Squick, the reason I laughed suddenly earlier is he said my top 3 tracks are Fuji, Le Mans, and Daytona. So, if you've been paying attention, the word on the street is that Daytona is coming to LMU. And I love Daytona, and I love Le Mans. However, my opinion about both of them, more Le Mans than Daytona, I would argue, but my opinion is that Le Mans, it only works as an endurance circuit. I think for sprint races, anything under 2 hours, honestly, and maybe anything under 4 hours, it just is not as exciting of a circuit. It is very empty unless it is full, unless there are 64 cars. So a normal race with you know, let's say a really good league showing, 30 cars for a championship, it's still gonna be a bit boring. And Daytona is a little bit of the same, though it is a significantly shorter circuit, but it is at its absolute best for a full slow burn endurance race. Whereas Imola, great for both. I just did an 80-minute hypercar GT3 race earlier this afternoon. It was excellent. I drove poorly, but I still had a lot of fun. Qatar, I think, works as both an endurance circuit and a sprint circuit. It is a long track. I guess it feels longer than it really is. But it's also super engaging. I think I'm one of the few psychopaths, I think, that really likes guitar. I'll be doing a 10-hour on it tomorrow. I'm being called a heretic by Leon Vallejo, and I am not surprised. Listen, I got hot takes about circuits. If you want just some crap being spouted about circuits, I'm your guy. Just ask me if you just throw circuit names at my name, I'll give you an opinion that probably will annoy some people. It is a Lexus battle has been looming, and I'm the last to notice. Between Leon Vindel and Kevin Serra, we've got a yellow and blue monster livery. Well, it's the monster versus the kitty is basically what this is like. We'll go on board with the man on the chase, or giving chase, rather. All right, Leon, what changed your opinion about Qatar? Because now I'm curious. Is it the fact that it got canceled now that you like it because you don't have to watch it? Probably not the case. But I feel like most people they don't like Qatar and they don't want to drive it. And then when they're forced to drive it, they're like, huh, maybe it's not so bad. I think the Qatar short circuit is also probably the best short circuit in LMU. If you haven't raced it in multi-class, it is chaotic and beautiful. It is phenomenal. We'll see what the lap time is here from Vindel and sort of compare and contrast. Not much between them, admittedly. Not much VE between them. They seem like they're on the exact same strategy. It's only fair they're in the exact same car while doing it. I see. Leon Vallejo won a race in a GT3 at Qatar and now likes Qatar. That is a fair reason. I will not argue with that. There's really not much between these two in the Lexi. All right, we're in agreement about Qatar short, Leon and I are. You're welcome on my team anytime. You want to do Qatar tomorrow? I'm kidding, we're full, we're good. Yeah, four people's plenty for a 10-hour. Not to be rude. But no, it is actually a stellar short circuit. Like, jokes aside, it is really fun. Lap times in LMP2s are just on the bubble of a sub 1 minute. I don't think I've ever seen someone do a 59. I myself, I know I haven't. Ooh, a little bit late for Vindel. But it is really, really fun. I've only driven it in prototypes, though. I've never done it in GT3s. Just because I'm someone who likes top class racing. Or just either top class or prototypes. Not the biggest GT3 fan. If you want some more hot takes, whew, I could give you some hot takes about GT3 cars. But I won't do that because lots of people enjoy them. And oftentimes they deliver some thrilling racing. I think we're getting a bit of a taste of that. It's left, right, left from the Hello Kitty car. We'll see how they're looking into one. It is late on the brakes for Sarah. Seems to hold it pretty well on the exit, though. And see how they're looking, and you can see that Vindel is really getting in the mirrors. He's trying to sort of apply pressure on the driver ahead. Oh, I'll be starting early. I'm with a half European team, so I have to start early in the day. I'll be in the 10 a.m. Split, and we'll be in the hypercars. I'll be driving a Peugeot, not because it's the fastest car. I liked the Peugeot before the tire change. I kept driving it through the tire change. I said very early on, within the first week, I said, guys, I think the Peugeot is one of the quickest cars. It's also really nice to drive. So I kept driving the Peugeot. Everyone else, they stole my idea, basically. Yeah, I'll be starting at 10 a.m. And strangely, I think I'm the fastest driver on our team, which never happens. This means how slow our team is. But no, I like Qatar. I seem to go pretty well at it, and feel pretty comfortable. I have pace. We'll see how I fare, and with once Lyco comes into play, because lifting and coasting is going to be so important as well. We haven't figured out our tire strategy as well. That's going to be a little interesting. We've seen it last lap. We've seen it again, a little bit less drama, but it's Lexus v Lexus, LMP2 in the background. They're going to have to wait their turn. They're side by side into one. Sarah doesn't quite have the drive to go around the outside. Just the way that turn one goes on Fuji is it is very difficult to go around the outside. I know several people that swear by the Porsche hypercar. I've only driven it a couple of times. I wasn't blown away. I've bounced around. I think every single endurance that I've done in a hypercar, it's been a different hypercar every time, except for Qatar. I think Qatar's the first time that we're driving Qatar again. But a lot of times I'll end up. I'll do a Cadillac, I'll do a Valkyrie, I'll do a Peugeot, I'll do a Lamborghini every once in a while. But, you know, I like to bounce around. I like to keep it interesting. We saw it earlier on, about 15 or so minutes ago, quite honestly. Chase Jones and Rob Ruggiero fighting for the class lead. Two drivers on two very different strategies. Rob Ruggiero going for pace, and some more pace. And Chase Jones going for some Lyco mixed with lightning fast pace. And maybe we'll go for the second edition of I talk through a lap or go on board for a full lap with a driver in a specific class. These two were clashing earlier, but it's been sorted, I think, by a no, let's see what happened to the pair. This is the move between the two. Was it done in one? Oh, maybe it was set up in one. Oh, it's a coming together between, I think it's Rem Wink and Kevin Serra. Vinda was able to sort of get away with it a bit better. But no. That's a bit of multi-class for you. It giveth and it taketh away, though, not in the way that you traditionally think. And Rem Wink has now DNF'd from this race. Let's see, where does Chase Jones make it done? He pulls this filthy little switchback on Rob Ruggiero. He's sort of getting in the mirrors a lot. Sort of faked him one way, faked him the other, and does it. You can see how much faster the BMW is in a straight line. That's unbelievable. But a little bit of Lyco from Chase Jones. Some really stellar braking. Means I think he's going to hold this one off. And no straights in Sector 3, so this is going to stay the way of the championship elect of Chase Jones. I think it really looks like that Rob Ruggiero might be the only LMGT3 not on any amount of fuel saving. Adam Taraj, another fastest lap for him on lap 49. He's still getting into his stride there. But average, the 5-lap average of virtual energy usage in the LMP3s, excuse me, in the LMGT3s for Chase Jones, 5.5% per lap, 5.9 from Rob Ruggiero, 5.3 from Denzel Kitchens, 5.8, 5.8, 6%, 6.2, or 6% from some other cars. So it seems like that maybe Rob Ruggiero is starting to like out just a bit, but I fear it is a little too late. I also fear I left that on screen far too long. That's all right. It's a lot of buttons. If only you could see how many buttons I had in front of me. I could count them all, but that would be stupid. Looking down the board, it does seem like Tyler Moore is beginning to close in ever so closely on Joshua Nelson, the fan favorite. He does only need third, does Tyler Moore, for overall victory in the championship. I think I'm going to double check my math because my fear, my crippling fear is that I get it wrong and crown the wrong person as champion on this stream. That would be horrifically embarrassing, actually. So I'm gonna do some math. Let me pull up the championship standings. And let's see. Yes. So if Kurt Von Ottenried at 64 points was what got the maximum points today of 26, he would lose the championship by 3 points to Tyler Moore. And more news about Tyler Moore that I don't know who all is aware of, but the word around the street, word around town, by around town I mean he said this to me one time, is that after this season he may be stepping away from driving for a bit and he might come join me in the commentary box. So any of you that are tired of hearing my voice and tired of hearing me ramble on about random things, and if you're not too bad, you'll be hearing approximately 50% less of me because someone else will be here. So that's something to look forward to for me, and I think something to look forward to from all viewers, because more people talking about racing, more people passionate about racing in one voice chat is better. I think I've just broke news. Leon Vallejo is very, very surprised. I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna fact check myself. I'm gonna find the message that he sent to me. Because I don't want to misquote him. Okay, he didn't necessarily say that he was stepping away from driving, but he did say that after this championship, he would more often be available for coming into the comms box. I don't think he's stepping away from driving. I think I misquoted him. It does maybe sound like he's toning it down, though. I don't know. I feel like I just broke some news that's not actually real. Take what I say with a grain of salt. I don't think he's stepping away. And if he says, who the heck told you that? Blame it on me. All he said to me, and granted this was a month ago, I think once he's done with this champ, he'll have a little bit more time, and I think he's more wanting to come and give commentary a try. So I don't know if that means he's driving less, I don't know what that means. I'm just excited that I might have a buddy in here. Because I have another crippling fear that people are tired of hearing my voice. But you're not going to stop hearing my voice. Just going to be hearing a little bit less of it. Also, I get lonely in here. I'm in my little cardboard box from which I broadcast from, and I get lonely. So it's an open invite, frankly. The door is open. If you even have a passing interest in motorsport and want to talk about it, come hang out. It's still Adam Taraj, though, after about 3/4 of the race, who leads over Magruder and Sanabria in LMP2, and overall, Kurt Von Ottenried leads the LMP3 field, still over the fan favorite Joshua Nelson and the championship-elect Tyler Moore. And Chase Jones is flying up the road and is leading in LMGT3. And so I'm looking at a bit of virtual energy. A couple of other things that I can see on my screen. That's Leon Vindel taking his pit stop. It's just about that time where we'll get a flurry of LMGT3 pit stops, depending on where the virtual energy is. But the P2s and the P3s, well, mostly the P3s, still can keep going. In fact, I wish I could see how much fuel they have. But they could possibly maybe need another splash, and then they might be able to make it towards the end. And depending on their fuel strategy, I think our GT3s have this could be their final stop. I think they maybe need to make it to the 30-minute mark before it really becomes a full to the end push. So the guys that are stopping now aren't quite going to make it. They might need a splash and dash before the end of the race. Everybody else, though, should be getting ready for the final stop. Let's see where Mr. Ottenried is. He's coming through 300R right now. And I think, I teased it earlier, but I think now I'm going to do a onboard lap with Mr. Ottenried. Maybe I'll give Adam Taraj another shot when he's not actively lycoing to make his fuel, to take his fuel one extra lap so he could get to his pit box. So I'm just curious, at this stage of the race, at this level of comfortability, he did just come out of pit lane, so you know, we'll see. He's certainly going to be running to the end. We'll see how he looks from an onboard. So, Kurt, don't make a hash of it. We are all watching. So, full top gear, just about max revs. Gonna brake right at the 100, maybe a little bit early, all the way down to first gear. You do want to avoid that apex curb. I do know that from personal experience. This car's running way too low, and there's a good chance you could spin him out. Through turn 2, Coca-Cola corners, makes turn 3. Cut that as much as you dare. Try not to get stuck on the exit curb. Through 100R, it's kind of, you put your foot down, then you just sort of tease the throttle as you start coming back up the hill. Brake at the 50 board. Down 1, 2, 3 gears for Kurt. Out of turn 7, 8, and then into 300R for turn 9. My guess is, I don't know his braking point, but there is a little orange box to the right of the turn 10, of where you brake for turn 10. That's usually what I use as a braking point. Brake on the green, or actually no, lift. A little bit of dab of brakes for these P2s. Second gear, avoid the apex curve for turn 15, nets corner, and then up to 16. Another late apex kind of guy for this turn 16. And that was a clumsily commentated, but I'm sure well done lap for Kurt Von Ottenried. It's a 30. Well, actually, I think it's invalid is whatever it is, because it didn't pop up on the board. Or maybe it was the 37.6 that we just saw. Then, ow, because I can, let's find Mr. Jones. Well, he's just starting a lap, but I know he's doing some lifting and coasting. Where is Mr. Ruggiero? I know he's pushing, so maybe we'll go on board with him for a lap. He's coming down now towards turn 10. So once he gets up the hill, well, that's two very sudden yellow flags, and I was wondering if they came together, because they both went yellow, and I think Kevin Serra and Devin Anthony may have had a bit of a moment together. So let's see about that. Maybe they both lost it in the same place. Ah! That'll do it. Sarah starts to go around. Devin Anthony's expecting one thing, and they sort of come together a little bit after. Bit of multi-class madness, a little bit of silliness, shall we say. Rob Ruggiero, this is your moment. I've just realized the revs on the side of the screen are completely wrong. The BMW M4 GT3 does not rev to 10,000. I'm sure that'll get fixed eventually. Yes, Squick, on the safety car. I'm getting kind of nervous that they're gonna have a hard time implementing that, because they haven't talked about it in a long time. Maybe that'll be something they mention in June, but I really hope for a safety car. Second gear in the LMGT3s, where it was first in the LMP3s. But Rob turns up the BMW missile. Now you can see from that camera view where that yellow bit of Armco is on the side. Brake just after that. Maybe on a tad deep there. But yeah, a safety car it's one of those elements that really adds to endurance racing. If any of you watched Sebring, you know that the end of that race, really the race as a whole, was kept so close because of pretty constant full course yellows and safety cars. And it was a phenomenal race. And it stops you from getting too spread apart. Well, there's Rob overtaking Mr. Serra. Mr. Serra getting out of the way a bit, so that the man who's lapping him can go through. Rob Ruggiero running in third. He is going to need to take another pit stop. Probably a quicker one. But, noticing something interesting between Randy Magruder and Javier Sanabria as far as the... If you look in the top left, their deltas are the exact same. But I'm not sure. I wonder, will this show me what I want to see? All right. So no. All right, so that's a new one. I think we're having a bit of a bug between Sanabria and Randy Magruder. Magruder's down pit lane for his final stop in this race. And Javier was a lap down. I think has now gotten that lap back. Well, it's still a lap down, even though he just overtook. You know, I don't know what's happening. It's hard to tell. It's hard to tell at this point. But the field is well and truly spread out, and differing cars at different paces, and a bit of multi-class. This happens in every race. And a good old full course yellow, an incident like that, a stranded car, debris on circuit, whatever the reason needs to be, a bit of a safety car would be great. But I wouldn't blame Studio 397 for taking their time to make it work, because the procedure for a full course yellow is quite complicated. For those of you who aren't sure how all of it works, you know, the yellow comes out, the full course yellow comes out, and a yellow is about to come out for Ricky Bobby, who's looped it just a bit, coming out at 12, and hopefully decides to get going again. I think he's just waiting for other cars to go through, very sensibly rejoining the circuit safely. But the way that the full course yellow will go, you'll get a full course yellow flag that precedes the safety car. Once the race leader, the overall race leader, starts to come by pit exit, safety car will be released, will catch the race leader, and then that doesn't sound that complicated. Yeah, you just bunch up behind the safety car. It's fine, right? Yeah, but then it begins the wave arounds. Wave arounds are tricky. I don't really know how that could be well coded and well developed in Le Mans Ultimate. Anybody who is between anybody who is basically a lap between the overall race leader and a class leader, kind of depends, but anybody who is effectively not where they should be in the racing order is supposed to be waved around so they get a lap back. And it would be difficult to have working well. Sometimes as well, a safety car period, if there's a lot of wave rounds that happen, can last 5-6 laps, and I think drivers would be annoyed by that. I have actually talked about that with people in AMS2 and in LMU. You do have somebody who is a dedicated safety car and do it all manually. It would be difficult. It would be extremely difficult, but you could theoretically do it. It would require serious coordination from the whole league. Everybody pretty much needs to be in a Discord. Somebody needs to be a race director, and then someone needs to be a safety car driver. So it could be the race director that is the safety car driver. It could work. It'd be difficult. But all that is being said, I hope it comes to LMU. I really like it. There's been enough incidents between drivers that we would have had at least a safety car or two throughout this race. Chase Jones is coming out for his final stop. Interestingly enough, he's filled his Porsche 911 LMGT3 car up to the max. I don't think he needs the full tank of fuel, but quite frankly, I don't think he has bothered to do anything else. I think he sort of maybe has checked out a bit mentally in this race, and also knows that he can go absolute full beans now, put in some fast laps, and not have to worry about fuel, which I think is entirely fair to do. Have you? Okay, well, yeah, that is the thing. Like, you can do it with through the in-game chat, but not everybody has the in-game chat turned on, and it can be difficult. I'd love to try it. It's also just a tough ask. A tough ask. For a 8-hour race. Hey, you got to be on call, watching the race intently to call bringing out a safety car, and I would not envy whoever has that job. I suppose, well, I don't know. Somebody could do it. Maybe make the commentator do it. But I miss stuff, so I wouldn't actually be the one. And I'm also not intelligent enough to call for replays. You sort of need like a steward team. It'd be tricky. It would be incredible if it were doable, but it would be very tricky. It is worth mentioning between these two that Chase Jones has come out of the pit lane, maybe on cold tires, but Rob Ruggiero is really giving him a run for it in his BMW. But I do think, I know for a fact that Ruggiero is going to need to pit again. But he's certainly given us a bit of a show. The Inter Europe pole comes on through. But it's good to sort of see. You do it all day? Free, no pay. All right. I mean, all right. That's fair. So, all right. All right. I'll leave you to it. You know what I think it could be? Whoever the co-commentator is, whoever's not leading in the commentary box, that's who should be the one who has to go drive the safety car and who should be in charge of calling the yellow flags. So they have something else to do throughout the race. But that does possibly lead to missing calls. I don't know. Listen, if you guys do testing for that, let some of the league admins know, and you guys could work on getting that set up. That would be awesome. It would be super, super cool. I honestly think the hardest part is knowing when to call the safety car. Always, though, you could schedule a safety car. Or just tell everybody, hey, a safety car is going to come out at some point in the race. You use a random number generator. It schedules a safety car at a different time. I don't know. Could do it that way. But I think calling a proper full course yellow at an appropriate time would be difficult to do well consistently. But I think even though I have no say in the matter, you're hired. You two are the new safety car team. Just about 19 minutes remain. Looking through the field, most of the LMGT3s have enough fuel to make it, save for Rob Ruggiero, Leon Vindel, and possibly the 333 and the 94 of Hideyoshi and Sarah. They might be on the bubble of making it. A safety car livery too. Yes. Yes. And drive like a... You gotta drive something... Well, no, I guess it would be weird to have a separate class loaded into a server just for the safety car. Oh no, I think you gotta drive a Porsche. Because the safety car is a Porsche. That's the only appropriate answer. But well, I was wondering how long it would take. Because Chase Jones did give the full tank of fuel and full push. And well, he's only on his second lap gone out and put in a purple lap by about 0.6 of a second. That is the quickest lap in the race. So if anybody was wondering if he has the pace, yes. Yeah, I would say safety car definitely needs to be a GT3, but it can't be it can't run at full pace. You sort of got to manage how quickly you're gonna go. It's I guess you sort of, I guess set sort of a maximum speed, maybe like a, I don't know, 120 kph, something like that, or I don't know. Could be worked on. But I do like how I do like where this is going as well. There's Tetsuo Hideyoshi there, ahead of Chase Jones. He's about to get lapped. Which is probably not what oh, he's gone quicker. He's closer to being a second quicker than the rest of the field on his fastest lap. I mean, just that last lap alone, Ruggiero did a 42.3. Chase Jones did a 41.2. Unreal pace. It's not the first time I've seen Chase Jones dominate in a Porsche GT3 car. Maybe cutting that corner just a little bit. It's starting to get a little overcast. Well, there's no further forecast. I meant to hit this button. Very overcast. The air temp has dropped about 10 degrees since the race start. Track temps dropped a little bit too. That's good for tire temps and tire wear. Not great for visibility. It's getting a little bit foggy out there, but these guys have no issues dealing with any of that stuff. I'm going to do a last bit of championship math. And we'll because I have a feeling, knock on wood, that this is going to be how the race is going to pan out. So hopefully I will have a top 3 in each class. Provisional championship standings, all of that. So I'm going to start working on that right now, and I will do both. I will pay attention. Squick joined the Discord. That does bring up a good point. If you're interested in joining any of the races here at our ARL, America's Racing League, it's not just LMU. It's not just Fridays. It's AMS2. It's ACC. It's iRacing most days of the week. I think Wednesday and Thursday there maybe isn't anything. Though I think there are. No, there are races on. I don't know. I don't think there's races on Saturdays generally. I don't remember. It is a very busy calendar. If you want to do a certain kind of racing, I'm sure you can find some of that. Maybe we have vintage ALMS. Is an American Le Mans, not Asian Le Mans. On AMS2 going on Thursdays. We've got the full GT3 big grid on Sundays and LMU that will be broadcast as well. And I'm hoping to amp up broadcasting just a little bit, though I am one guy who is a busy guy and does a lot of racing and broadcasting anyways. So if you want to help with broadcasting or commentary or whatever, hit my line. You can find me as Papa Bless or as Jack in the ARL Discord as well if you want to talk to me about that stuff. I'd be happy to have you, happy to train you. You don't need experience. Just, you know, bring a good attitude. A little bit of argy-bargy between the Lexus and the race leader. But I will throw an onboard of Adam Taraj in these closing stages while I do my math. All right, Nelson gets plus 10 points from the fans is the ruling from Squick the Goat. I don't think the stewards and the organizers will agree with that, but I will do that math nonetheless. So let's see. Chase Jones and LMGT3 will no doubt be the champion. Tetsuo Hideyoshi will no doubt finish in second in the championship. It's just a question of who will we take third. And I believe it will be Mr. Denzel Kitchens. If the order stays relatively similar to where it is. So don't have to do math there. The LMP3 field. It will be Tyler Moore who takes the championship over Kurt Von Ottenried by 3 points. And Joshua Nelson will finish in third by some margin. Actually, wait, hold on. With his plus 10 from the fans, let's see if he would win the championship. Let's see. So he'd be on. Unfortunately, the plus 10 would actually take him to tie with Kurt Von Ottenried for second with his 10-point bonus. He would finish on 90 points. Kurt Von Ottenried would finish on 90 points, and Tyler Moore would finish on 93. So maybe the stewards would be okay with it, or the organizers would be okay with it. I don't know. Send Tyler Moore a DM and say, hey, can we give a free 10 points to Joshua Nelson? As long as he still finishes. I'd say 9 points. So he still finishes third. He might go for it. Probably wouldn't. Probably wouldn't go for it. Because if it opens up that the fans can decide who gets points, that means the broadcaster / commentator should be allowed to make these things up. Saying. In LMP2, Adam Taraj would certainly take victory overall and in his class. And it is really starting to get a little bit muggy here in Japan. I got to admit, coming into the third sector with Taraj is just looking a little peaked out there. I believe. Let's see. Mr. Randy Magruder would take second place. Well, maybe. Hold on. Stand by. Actually, Randy Magruder would take... He would take third. Devin Anthony would take second by 2 points over Magruder. Hopefully I can remember that. Somebody... That sounds fair. I don't know how fair it is to arbitrarily bring points in. I don't know, if we did like a fan driver of the day vote and it's like an extra point. We could do that. We could, I think like a single extra point. Nothing that should decide championships though. But yeah, if somebody wants to write all that down, all of what I just said, that would be helpful. Because I will have to say it all again in about 8 to 10 minutes. And knowing me, I'll probably forget. Seems that everything's pretty much solidified itself here at Fuji Speedway. Not Fuji Speedway, whatever the circuit's called. It is Fuji Speedway, actually. We're just used to, when I hear Speedway, I think of an oval as an American, even though I am not a guy. I'm more of a circuit enjoyer. Though you can ask the people who do AMS2 on Tuesdays. I apparently can drive pretty well in an oval. Apparently, somehow. I'm gonna hunt now for if I were to give an award, it's my favorite livery award. So we're gonna hunt the whole field and check everyone's liveries, and I will decide who my favorite is. The Good Vibes Ligier from Adam Taraj. I am a fan. I like the white and sort of the light blue. That's a good one. Magruder's his I don't know what I would call it, like a Valkyrie. It's got a kind of a Valkyrie, not Aston Martin, but Valkyrie as in the Norse female warrior, whatever, angel people livery. I like a blue car. I like it as well. I like the Thunder. I like the whole deal. Quite good. Javier Sanabria. I believe that is just a default. I'm not sure what team that is. I don't know if it's the Ikigai LMP2 team. I don't know who runs that car. I don't know. That might just be the title sponsor. Not sure. Devin Anthony. Same car. They're not going to win the award. Hate to say. Kurt Von Ottenried. That is the default Ginetta, the only Ginetta livery that exists in LMU. You're not winning the award. Sorry. Joshua Nelson. That is another base game. Well, is it? Is it a base game LMP2 livery? Or LMP3 livery, rather. I think it is. I feel like I've seen it. I've seen it before. But if I were to give a award per class, I think Adam Taraj wins. I love good vibes. I drive on vibes. That's the motto of a lot of people I do endurance racing with, is we drive on vibes. Don't need to be perfect, don't need to be good, we're just having fun. Tyler Moore's Ginetta livery is a black and red, with the American accents, and then I think is it a Swiss flag on the front left canard? Quite good. Quite good. Quite good there. It's a Cyberpunk livery. So I didn't know that. I didn't play Cyberpunk. Hold on, I'm gonna take another look. I'm gonna take another look for it. Oh yeah, that's the Arasaka logo. Okay, yeah, I should have probably spotted that. I know that much. But it also looks like, I think it's a similar color scheme from another Ginetta, or sorry, Ligier that exists. It is a good livery though. Is it better than Tyler Moore's livery? Don't know. Let's see who else we got. Ricky Bobby, the 711, another contender, hotly contested for the best livery in LMP3. And those are the only. Sorry, there's the only three who are in the running. Can I just call it a three-way tie between the? I don't know. I gotta narrow it down. I know that the Joshua Nelson fan club's gonna disagree with me here, but I think because I thought it was a base game livery, I know that shouldn't automatically disqualify it, but I don't know, I do really like it though. Maybe it does win. It was so good that I thought it was an actual race car, so no, I think it's gonna go to Joshua Nelson, with Tyler Moore in close second. And Ricky Bobby, honorable mention because the 711 livery is awesome. Now for LMGT3, it's another good vibes car from Mr. Jones, which is appreciated. Denzel Kitchens is in the, I don't remember this team name, sorry. I don't. I know the IMSA teams better than I do. It's the Brazilian BMW. That's what I call it. I call it a Brazilian livery. I know Rob Ruggiero's in the Crayola car. Big fan of that. Good color palette, good splash. The fact that the crayons are smiling at you on the back of the car, so when he overtakes you, that is spectacular. The French hexagon racing on the Corvette does look quite nice. It is getting a bit harder to see them now that the sun has officially gone down and it's nighttime. Tetsuya Hideyoshi with his AMG Petronas livery. Hot take, I really don't like F1 inspired liveries on sports cars. I just across the board. Well, I shouldn't say across the board. There's some that I'm okay with. It's the obscure liveries, some of the classic liveries. Looks like it's gonna be a splash for Tetsuya Hideyoshi. Speaking of, he's on 3.5%. He just cut that horde coming into pit lane, but he's gonna need a splash. I've seen Tillery's Mustang a bit, sort of the black, red, and white It is striking. I do quite like it, and I feel like the non what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know, it's not a consistent pattern. I feel like it kind of fits the Mustang really well. It is an ARL livery. The later dude on the trunk is quite nice. That is a good one as well. The blue and red and orange and yellow monster livery flame thing, bit too much for me. There's a bit too much going on this one. This has just become... Oh, wait, we've reached the end. That is the last one. Everyone else is in the garage. This has just turned into I review liveries, basically. I think... Oh, and of course, I missed Leon Vindel completely with the Hello Kitty livery. I was going to say it might be this one. I was looking for it. It could be the Hello Kitty livery. I don't know. Anybody who's got a custom livery on their car gets a thumbs up for me. I like seeing people's unique tastes, and I don't know. It's sort of it's you know, you're personalizing the car. You're making it a bit more to fit who you are as a driver or who your team is. I like it. A bit of personality. And I believe, there we go. I was about to say, Mr. Adam Taraj is starting his final lap. Brakes glowing in the night. This is not a well-lit circuit. And I don't think it's usually raced during the nighttime. The 8 hours of Fuji doesn't go into the night. But these guys are going to do it anyways. Headlights illuminating. They see all they need to see. At this point, after 2 hours, they know this circuit basically by heart. But he's winding up his final lap. Let's see where Kurt Von Ottenried is. He's coming into turn 10. And I believe that that's Adam Taraj, who just entered 10 behind him. So if Adam Taraj gets past him, this will be Kurt Von Ottenried's final lap. And Chase Jones is starting his final lap. So it'll be the LMGT3's sort of finish at the end. We'll see. There's Taraj coming out of the final corner out of 16. There's Kurt Von Ottenried ahead of him. Does he have the push to end the lap for the LMP3s? Well, frankly, it doesn't matter. I think Kurt Von Ottenried lifted as well, because Adam Taraj is going to take victory in the finale, and he's going to take the championship to boot. Overall, good vibes only. Kurt Von Ottenried also crosses the line. Not quite as a champion, but he got damn close in the final round. He gave it his best. A couple other cars have finished as well. Ricky Bobby, Devin Anthony. Sanabria comes across the line as well. Denzel Kitchens finishes the lap behind his leader. But Tyler Moore also crossed the line. I completely missed that. I was looking for him because Tyler Moore, it might have only been a podium tonight. And frankly, I'm not sure if he realizes this, but he's a champion. He is the champion in LMGT3. Thank you for being nice about the stream. I think it was pretty good. It was better than Le Mans, that's for sure. But Joshua Nelson comes across the line and he snatches the fastest lap on the final lap. So maybe there was more for him today. Maybe he left some on the table. A lot of drivers now hitting their victory donuts, their post-season donuts. Chase Jones now crosses the line in his LMGT3. Victory at Fuji, victory at Japan, and victory in the Friday multi-sprint season. I think he's now going to join the pack, maybe for some donuts, or he's just going to park. Oh, we're in reverse now. What's the plan here? Where are we going? I think we might. I know what he's doing. He's parking next to his teammate and fellow champion Adam Taraj for a little post-race photo. Well, if only Tyler Moore wasn't in his garage. That could be one heck of a photo between them. Let's see, can I get a better nope, 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 nope. This isn't very helpful. I'm trying to see if I can get a better image of them. Not the car park. You know, I'm giving up on that. Sure, if this was real life, they'd be waving at each other. But a stellar race. I'd say a pretty stellar season as well. Though I didn't broadcast all of it. I got half of it. Just about, I think. But that does bring the proceedings to a close. As for the results in class, these are provisional. This is napkin math. This is not law. I could completely be wrong on all of this. But in LMP2, Adam Taraj is your champion. Devin Anthony takes second, and Randy Magruder takes third. In LMP2, Tyler Moore takes overall victory, followed by Kurt Von Ottenried, narrowly, and Joshua Nelson as well. It was a fight between the three down to the end. And in LMGT3, it's Chase Jones in first, Tetsuo Hideyoshi in second, and Denzel Kitchens in third. Thank you all for the kind words at the end of the stream. Thank you all for hanging out with me. And yes, I should be around for next season. I'm gonna give the new LMU overlay a try. If it works, I will say the one that I use is so easy to work with and very good for running a solo show. We'll see which one I prefer more. But to run it, to run the broadcast and commentate is a lot more difficult than have a dedicated broadcaster, which is what I'm used to. So we'll see. But I'll certainly try to come back for next season, and I will certainly be around unless something changes on Sunday. So if you're looking for more LMU broadcasts here at ARL, that will be for the Big Grid Sundays. I promised that I would stream it to a couple of people, so I will be there. Broadcasting AMS2 on Tuesdays as well. We'll see. I'm thinking about trying to get iRacing up and going as far as broadcasting, though I'm not excited of having to pay for circuits so that I can stream them. Not the most interested in that. We'll see how that goes. If someone wants to give me money, that'd be great. But yeah, that will do for the ARL Friday Multiclass series. This was season 10. And I'm sure next season will bring even more. Will it be ELMS? I don't know. Will it be, I don't know, 2023 WEC? 2023 hypercars and GTEs? I don't know. I just made that up. I don't actually know if that's going to happen. That would be great, though. But thank you all so much for joining me tonight. Thank you so much to all the drivers for driving, because without them, well, I would just be talking to myself. There wouldn't even be anything to talk about. Thank you again for the kind words. I appreciate it. Thank you for hanging out with me, everyone who's in chat. I expect you to test out the safety cars, and but yeah, that's all I got tonight. The clock has ticked midnight here in the East, so that's bedtime. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your night. Watch the Grand Prix this weekend. Come back and watch the Big Grid Sundays on Sunday nights back with me. And have a good rest of your week. Have a good weekend. Wear your seatbelts. Eat healthy. Go for a walk. And I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful rest of your day. Thank you for the final time for joining me here, and I look forward to seeing you all very soon.